The name of this quiet rural village will forever be linked to a notorious attack. Murders that have become known as a massacre. In June 1994, people had gathered at the Heights Bar in Loughinisland to watch a football match.
The Irish have taken over the giant stadium in New York.
The Republic of Ireland were playing Italy in the World Cup.
Everywhere you look, you see orange, white and green.
And people were focused on the game when gunmen entered the bar and fired shot after shot. 6 men who came here to be with friends died together. And ever since, their families have claimed that there was collusion in the killings. Today, that was confirmed by Northern Ireland's policing watchdog. The truth behind these men's deaths is something that sons and daughters have spent 2 decades fighting for.
Nobody cared that he was dying on the bar floor. But I did. And today is his day.
Because the truth has come out.
Because the truth is out. And they can't hide.
5 years ago, another Ombudsman report into the killings here was published. However, its findings were dismissed by the families of some of those who died as a whitewash, and they were eventually quashed in court. In this new report, the Ombudsman concludes that police informants were involved in importing the guns used at Loughinisland, that the killers had been involved in previous murders and, if properly investigated, could have been brought to justice and may not have been involved in the Loughinisland attack. And he says the investigation was characterised in too many instances by incompetence, indifference and neglect.
Many of the issues I've identified in this report, including the protection of informants through willful acts and the passive turning of a blind eye, the failures in the police investigation and the destruction of police records, are in of themselves evidence of collusion.
Today, the police apologised to the families of those killed here in Loughinisland. But those relatives believe the passing of time has made any prosecutions highly unlikely. And it was the actions of some officers that allowed a gang to get away with mass murder in this village.
Let's just picture a future conversation that you may have with your daughter, who asks you what you did in your so-called war, Daddy. And you will say, I killed a man of 87. He was sitting with his back to me. He was watching the World Cup. I shot him dead. He was 87. She won't think that the record of a hero, will she?
The Chief Constable has said he's surprised the police ombudsman didn't arrest and charge the officers he said colluded with loyalists in the Loughinisland murders. Last week, an ombudsman report said the killers had been protected from police investigation. Our Home Affairs correspondent Vincent Kearney reports.
Families of the victims of the UVF's Loughinisland attack said they'd been vindicated when the police ombudsman said police officers had colluded with the killers. They also made it clear they want action to be taken against all of those involved.
Today we finally have a report by the police ombudsman at last that vindicates our long-held suspicions and belief that the truth about these murders was being covered up by the very people, the police, who were supposed to be protecting us. We need justice and accountability from those in authority.
It would appear to me that there has been a perversion of the course of justice on an industrial scale.
It's the responsibility of the police ombudsman to investigate alleged criminal behaviour by current and former police officers. His investigators also have the power to arrest suspects and can recommend that they face charges. Michael Maguire was highly critical of some members of RUC Special Branch. He said police informers involved in the Loughinisland attack and the importation of a huge consignment of weapons from South Africa have been protected.
Some police officers place more value on collecting information and protecting sources than on preventing and detecting crime.
But he didn't have any of them arrested, and he didn't send any files to the Public Prosecution Service recommending that they should face charges. In an interview for tonight's BBC Spotlight programme, the Chief Constable has expressed surprise.
Well, there does seem to be some sort of distance between the strength of the language in the report and the fact that we're not having police officers even reported to the Public Prosecution Service. If I got to a point where I was convinced in a very clear way that collusion was a key element of the Loughinisland murders, then I would be looking to take that conclusion into evidence through arrests, interviews, charges.
The Ombudsman has said that while there was sufficient evidence for him to say some police officers had been involved in collusion, there wasn't enough to support criminal charges. In a statement to the BBC, Michael Maguire said that as a result of the passage of time, some witnesses were no longer available, some documentation was missing, and that it wasn't always possible to get a detailed picture of the role of certain individuals. He said a number of related issues referred to in the Loughinisland report are still under investigation. Vincent Kearney, BBC Newsline.